So yeah, welcome to the Fire Codex part 2. And if something comes through, I would definitely want to encourage you to unmute and share that with us. It's going to be, if you didn't get to see Fire Codex part 1, highly encourage you, and I'm going to link that below. The link will be in the video replay, so you can just click back. Very detailed on what the Fire Codex is, very detailed on how to work with the Fire Codex. This is essentially just some updates, and I'll drop it into, I'll drop it into our Zoom chat as well, so that everybody can have access to, there we go. It's uploading right now, so everybody can have access to the slides. If you wanted to thumb through the slides on your own, feel free to do that. There will be a part here too, a portion here where we're going to kind of do a little bit of an activity together. So I just don't want it to be like me going over the slides. I definitely want this to be a bit more interactive. So as we've talked about the Fire Codex before, the frequency of fire itself is like alchemy, transmutation. If you think about the element of fire, like the heat itself. So some of the updates that have come through is that, as we have incorporated over the last 2 months, the crystalline nervous system, working our way towards the other crystalline updates that are coming through, anchoring that architecture not only for ourselves but for the collective. It's no longer about kind of that, I like the word that we chose here, like dramatic ignition or like karmic burn off. This is a much more like balanced, harmonized, resonant frequency that's coming through. Plasma has been huge, 0-point plasma intelligence. We've kind of talked about that extensively. Plasma has come in a bunch of different ways, and it's been coming in for a while. I put crystalline plus, so crystalline and above, coherent flame. Some are already working in the frequency of diamond, and if that's you, so that's why I put crystalline plus, stabilized by the crystalline nervous system, grid integrated harmonic regulator as well too. So if you're a grid worker, we've been talking about like the harmonics that have been, the higher harmonics have been coming in for a while as well too. So yeah, these are initially some of what was coming through. And then we're going to go into detail. I think it's like about probably 10 slides total. We'll kind of go through some of this stuff and hit the highlights. But so starting with the 0-point law of zero method, instead of just calling in the Fire Codex or calling fire down, allowing that ignition to emerge. A quick, easy way to remember that is, like I've talked about it before, like stoking your inner flame. So if you don't remember anything, just remember stoking your inner flame. This is the practice on the left, talks about stillness practices has been huge. Dropping in with your intention, feeling into your natural center, whether that's your breath, whether that's your heart center, whether that's just your actual 0 point. And then, kind of building that inner flame, noticing that warmth, pulsing and moving from the heart, solar plexus, up the spine. It's not really about a yang masculine action, right? When you think of fire, you think of like yang, you think of the masculine. But here on the 5th point is like, this isn't really about like an action or doing or pushing. It's really more about like that inner kind of resonance, right? Building that flame within. So the Fire Codex activates with stillness, not will. And if you're trying to force it, which we've all been there, myself included, I originally called the Fire Codex in probably like, I don't know, year and a half ago, maybe. Very much in that frequency of like alchemy and transmutation and yang and doing. But now we've channeled something and called in and anchored something a bit higher dimensional, you know, weaving with our crystalline nervous system, allowing that fire codex to regulate within the body, activating your heart coherence first. So the coherence of the heart, exclamation point, is what I put on there. Everything is so much more resonant if you are connected to your heart. If you aren't sure what connecting to your heart chakra means, you're in the right place. Many of us in humanity, and you can tell with what's kind of happening, we aren't connected to our bodies, we aren't connected to our hearts, or maybe we were connected at one time, and for whatever reason, we chose to make a different choice. We chose to disconnect, we chose to wall off our hearts, we chose to listen to the mind over our heart. And that's why I want us to basically reconnect and get into that heart coherence first, because from the heart, everything is much more resonant. Letting that warmth move. Vagal tone here is like nervous system, paying attention to the tightness of your jaw, your throat, your diaphragm, like how am I breathing? This could be the depth of your breaths. Are you breathing fast or slow? Are you taking like really shallow breaths? And as you're working with this frequency, if you're noticing intensity or nervous system deregulation, you want to return back to your breath, right? It can be intense, it doesn't have to be. As this fire stabilizes, it doesn't have to overstimulate, right? As a grid worker, this is crucial, and this last bullet I think here is, I kind of really, honestly, I struggled. I debated on putting this last bullet in there. The reason why this is important as a grid worker, because not only do we work with the elements, we work with the grids, we work with others in the elements and the grids, but having an unstable nervous system, and a lot of us in the world are feeling this, that when you are incoherent, it can be disruptive. Maybe disruptive is a better word there, but I put distorts the flame. And I really I was, sometimes the words, it has to be that word. There's no other real way to say it, because to say it any less than that, it may not be like the whole truth. So, again, use your own personal discernment, whatever, harmonize the words. If distortion just feels too raw or too rough, replace it with something that's much more easier on the nervous system. And I love this picture on the left. I channeled this picture a while ago. This to me is the plasma moving through us, the crystalline nervous system moving through our physical bodies. And I know it looks a bit more masculine, but I think it just does a real good job of capturing that. Crystalline template amplification. So the updated Fire Codex responds to geometric coherence. This picture does a really good job, and you can work with it by essentially picturing your heart or the heart chakra as a crystalline lattice. It doesn't have to look like this picture at all. This picture just does a really good job of showing you a lattice within the actual, a visualization of the heart, like a good word picture. If you need a word picture or a permission slip, use this if that feels aligned to you. This allows the fire to become much more prismatic. If you picture the fire like moving through this crystalline lattice, it goes from maybe a singular flame, or even like you could call it like a single octave. And as it hits that lattice, or it hits the facets, it becomes much more multidimensional in its refraction. So that's kind of a different way to think about than maybe just like a single octave, a single frequency, a singular beam. Trying to give you different ways to conceptualize this. Moving on to part 4 here. I really love these pictures on the left too. If you don't get any of the bullets and you're like, I don't like reading stuff, just look at the pictures, man. The pictures are super activating. As a grid worker, we don't force or blast fire into the ley lines, into the energy nodes, right? Really, this new updated frequency of the element of fire, of the Fire Codex, is phase locking with the Earth's field, feeling, of course, we always feel into the grids themselves and work with the grids. And it's a much more updated frequency of like plasma, of flow, right? But you don't really hear those words like, when you think of flow, you're like, that isn't what necessarily comes through with specifically like the frequency of fire. This allows Mother Earth or Mama Gaia to regulate the intensity. And again, bottom right here, these are all suggestions, not like the law. It's a channeling, just a recommendation. Picture yourselves not as the source. So we are merely the channel, the catalyst, or the interface to allow this Fire Codex, this plasma frequency to flow, to harmonize, to phase lock, if you will. Fire Codex works through harmonic entrainment, harmonic guidance, maybe another word as well too. I picture the left as maybe a much more yang or masculine frequency of working with the Fire Codex, and then the one in the center as like that fire grid itself, like a grid actually built out of like plasma or that updated Fire Codex. So again, if you're a visual learner, just stick to the visuals here. Group transmission. So this is a community frequency. So shifting a little bit into community groups, not necessarily like me working with myself. So in group settings, the Fire Codex comes through a little bit of an updated frequency as well, whether you're working in like fields, grids, group ceremonies, much like our community here, which is called the Limitless Creators. We do holy fire, like group holy fire healings, group ceremonies or rituals. So if you're just out working in groups, it could be with another person, several people, or even larger. Less is more. That's an easy and simple way to think about and remember this. Less is more, and then setting your intention. We should always set our intention, but to weave in resonance, to weave in coherence. I had a couple conversations with friends this week that I was thinking about, and here is kind of like, and I want you to take this in the most aligned way possible. This is kind of like the millennial, maybe even like Gen Z vibe, right? Where it's like, I need to fully be me, right? I need to speak my truth. I need to, sometimes it comes through as like correcting people, right? Like they feel the need to like correct you for whatever the reason is, right? They need to speak their truth. There is a correction that needs to happen, right? What I'm saying is when you're working with when you're working as a group, we should all be weaving in coherence and resonance, and less is more, right? So just because I have a thought that says, ooh, maybe I don't agree 100% with the things that the person who's leading us is saying, am I willing to basically interrupt the vibe or the frequency of the group in that moment? Maybe we're in ceremony and be like, hey, time out, excuse me, that wasn't 100% right. That's what I'm talking about, is like, that's an example of it. Weaving in coherence, that's you could do it just with pure intention setting too. I can set the intention to alchemize or harmonize some of the words if it's not coming through across. Here's some steps on the left here too as well, recommendation. So if you're in group ceremonies, working with the grids, a good place to start is like grounding, self-regulation, because as your field is stable and coherent, and as you build out with a group, overall the group field, vibration, and frequency will be much more stable and coherent. Dropping into the breath always, activating that shared heart coherence, heart resonance, and then allowing the Fire Codex to rise collectively. In this picture here too, I just wanted to, like this is a very common vibe here. It's like sitting around the fire. It doesn't even need to be a campfire. Maybe you're sitting around something at the house. Maybe you're sitting on your back porch and you just have like a little fire going, or you're, we met up together and we built a couple fires around the fire pit and shared community with one another and stayed up late and worked with the elements, worked with instruments, worked with our voice, worked with sound, and all of that is was super, super activating. A lot of fun, man, actually. Good times, good tunes, good nights. The flame should feel shared. It should feel coherent, not dominant, not incoherent. Right? And this is the picture's a great example of sitting around the fire and just sharing in community with one another. Aurora says, I have 2 fireplaces in my house. It's a gas fireplace, so you don't need to set the fire. Okay, yeah. There you go, that's great, yeah. I love that. Gas fire is like a flame is a flame, right? You don't even have to go outside. Aurora, do you have people that like come over and that you share the flame with, or community? I know you mentioned fire gazing before too.
I don't invite people to my house, but in Canada, when we go to camping or go to cottage, they always have fire pit. So it's like in the picture, we just set up fire and we do fire gazing. I think in German they do lots of fire gazing too.
Yeah, Vincent, do you have anything else to share about like group, kind of like fire? No? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, something is it's very primal. Something about it's like in us to be around the fire, to build fire, to something about it, as a masculine or feminine, like we have both in us. Something, it's very, very like human to work with the elements, to work with specifically like with fire in particular is very activating.
Oh, and also in Peru, in the pyramid, like the ancient civilization, in the remains, we see a circle. Do you remember? We see a circle, and that circle is for fire ritual. So they do lots of fire ritual. They just they look at the fire and they can read, they can download the information from it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That reminds me of a recent ceremony that we had on the full moon, the wolf full moon actually, and no, the wolf new moon, So this is the one back in I guess January actually. We were sitting around the fire, and we had a fire going, and the wind was kind of like whipping it up, and it was turning it into like this fire vortex. And as somebody would speak, depending on like if they were like being like passionate or sharing something that was like emotional, the fire would kind of like move towards them. It would almost like lick towards them. I found it very interesting. I was showing somebody, I was like, hey, watch what this fire is doing, and it's easy to chalk it up as coincidence, but as we went around the fire and different people were sharing, like the fire would change directions and like move towards them. So it was really interesting to watch that. Starseed connection, timeline work. If you are a starseed, timekeeper, The old fire, so the old frequency, the previous frequency of the Fire Codex collapsed timelines through action, friction, action, needing to do something. The new updated Fire Codex harmonizes the timelines through resonance, and we'll kind of walk ourselves through a practice here. I think we'll do the practice kind of at the end, just for the purposes of the slides. Holding two perceived timelines in your awareness. So this is just something that we'll go through. Instead of burning one away or like alchemizing and transmuting, right? Let that warmth move between them. Like feel into and allow that coherence to kind of resonate naturally. Again, I like this picture on the left for timelines. We've talked about divine feminine, divine masculine, working in the frequency of Hyros Gamos. And this doesn't have to be, this could be inner union, doesn't need to be like outer union, but inner union, micro into the macro, inner into sacred union frequency. Whereas the old Fire Codex amplified or required a much more masculine action, the updated Fire Codex resonates within the heart. It warms without pressure, much more like it invites, does not pursue stability rather than claiming, right? See how these words, these frequencies, these thoughts, right? They're much more aligned, much more harmonic, much more resonant. There is no like runner chaser. There is no, when you think about the flame itself, like the fire is. I was just thinking about kind of like, how the fire itself like spreads, right? Supports Hyros Gamos, which is divine union, sacred union, through safety, without intensity and without entanglement. And I think that's kind of some important, I think that's important to share too. It doesn't have to be all like, oh, hey Christina, welcome in. It doesn't have to be like all yang, right? There can be a resonance, coherence, stability. Timeline recursion or shift. So the old expression of the Fire Codex is fire transmutes or alchemizes karma. I wanted to spend some time here because a lot of us have experienced many of these things I'm going to be talking about here. As we alchemize and transmute, particularly at the second half of 2025, moving into 2026. Today is the last day, moving into the Fire Horse energy frequency on February 17th, which is tomorrow. We were kind of burning through a lot of these things. Karma, loops, patterns, timelines, calling them forward to be alchemized and transmuted very rapidly. And that didn't always feel aligned. Collapsing timelines, converging timelines. It's just through intensity or friction, or I would even use the word action, right? For example, if many of us who have been to Egypt, or if you traveled to a sacred site or a place with a lot of energy, you may have experienced what we call energetic purging. These are like physical symptoms that kind of manifest in the body, and they can put you down for a time, right? They call it like the ascension like symptoms. Ascension flu has come up recently. Physical purging out of both ends, you know, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, not dizziness as well. This type of growth, this kind of rapid transmutation or alchemy, can feel very destabilizing, especially if you are sensitive to, if you are sensitive, just period, you know. Not everybody can move fast. Not everybody can move in that masculine frequency. And if you're putting yourself through this or calling in this type of initiation, it can be really difficult. It can be really difficult. It can be not only difficult to move through it, difficult for our ability to integrate those lessons. Sometimes you end up like suffering because we're like we feel the need to close, collapse, alchemize, transmute, clear our ancestral lineage. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me I have to, like, it has to be me. It's got to be me that heals all of my ancestors. And I'm like, oh, it has to be you, just you. You're the one. Only you and your entire family can clear your ancestral karma. Sounds a little bit egoic, but I don't know. The updated expression of the Fire Codex is that fire no longer forces timeline collapse, instead reorganizes, harmonizes across the timelines through coherence and resonance. So that sounds, looks, and feels a lot different than what we were talking about above in the slide here, right? Quickly burning through trauma, karma, converging lessons. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I just want to point out that one isn't better than the other. This is just the updated frequency that's coming through. Maybe you've experienced moving through something too quickly and then having an extended period of integration afterwards, right? Or maybe you were working within the grids, within the land, received a healing or a reading, and then you experienced an initiation which was very destabilizing on the back end, and you're like, man, why did I do that? You know, or we kind of look to the person who was helping us with that, you know. It's like, oh, we kind of come up with this story where it was like something that they did, you know what I mean? So just something to think about. Updated expression of the Fire Codex here. We don't need to burn off karma anymore. Particularly with the crystalline nervous system, I would say too. And as we move through the year, you're going to get faster, higher, stronger pattern recognition. You're going to see these loops, timelines, and distortions. You'll be able to identify them much sooner, right? We aren't doing the slow and the hard way anymore, the long and the hard way, I guess, rather. Now you're able to recognize, like, hey, this doesn't feel right. Hey, that doesn't sound right. Oh, go ahead, Vincent.
Yeah, so one thing with that I just heard about karma is like it is a construct that is unlike source because you create yourself to be the victim in the future from actions that you are perpetrating in your present time. So that's not source at all. So source doesn't do that. So if we're a fractal of God, we've only pretended to do those things what karma is. So we need to release like karma as a construct at all, because it is completely unlike source, and we are source. So like when we've got to let go of that, the karma itself, and by like yeah, definitely adding the flame to like the construct of karma is going to like it's going to burn away all of the stuff that it's meant to burn away and leave behind what is the solid, that doesn't burn, that doesn't need to burn away from it. So like how we create the we I think our egos used karma as a justification for things that could happen in the future from the disorientation of its creation in from the present. So like if one now that we're getting into like more purified creation, we have to be careful how we create. And if we're creating under the karma template, it's not going to be correct. Like that's still going to create distortion into the field, basically. So um, we've got to allow the flame to come in and consume ideas and templates like this um, through our crystalline, purified consciousness. So that's like the moments that we have of recognition of where we may be feeling that this is a karmic tie, or you hear somebody talk about that, it's probably a moment for us to like go into like a slight meditation to burn that template some more because it has come into our field. And that's like what purification is like allowing templates that don't need to be within us, like, and using these flames as the device to purify them. And then like I think that's what source would want us like as a source to do, is like, oh, okay, the more that we could recognize when things are a distortion, and then use the tools that we're given, like even if it's not that we're like using the flame ourselves. Maybe it's like we give it to like the phoenix being. I had like last year I was using a phoenix being that was with me to transmute and like bring uh, burn off what the old and then be born in anew again, basically, because we're going to be resurrecting from the fire um, coming up this year. That's what we're going to be doing, I think, something like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you mentioning that in particular because, if we're weaving in the frequency of unity consciousness, and we're walking, we're anchoring that unity template, that unity architecture. Karma as a construct doesn't really resonate anymore, right? Particularly if you're that person where it's like, oh, I know that they're going to get theirs. They're going to get their karma. That's still separation. That's still polarity. You know what I mean? Like that's no longer what we're calling in, and that's why we're talking about this updated expression of the Fire Codex. It's like having the thought, the action, the need to take action against karma. That in itself isn't the most aligned frequency, right? If you're weaving in unity consciousness, the updated frequency of the Fire Codex allows us to quickly recognize this, know that no longer vibrates or resonates with us, and then allows us to basically converge those timelines in a much more stable, coherent, and resonant way. We don't need to create fractal timelines. We don't need to create parallel possibilities, right? And then it says here at the bottom, rather than destroying one timeline and moving to another, this updated Fire Codex allows the timelines to harmonize or converge naturally with the most coherent path, allowing the most coherence possible. I like this picture too. Okay, yeah, so here's, it works like this. So as a pattern appears, instead of reacting, you stay regulated, right? So the crystalline nervous system allows us, or a stable and coherent nervous system. So if you're not familiar with the crystalline nervous system, just replace that with a stable and coherent nervous system. Allows us to stay more regulated. We have more depth, we have more capacity. You're doing your normal daily practices, and that gives you more range. Then allowing the Fire Codex to introduce that awareness and that coherence, reorganizing the distortion instead of escalating, or instead of like needing to do an action, right? This is a shift. This is a higher octave translation from needing to do something about it, right? And here it talks about the evolution through intelligent stabilization or harmonization, and we've been talking about harmonization for quite a while in our community. No dramatic collapse, no forced endings, just clarity and alignment. Right? We were talking earlier about the quick convergence, the needing to quickly move through things. It's not always the most aligned way. It's a very yang way to apply the Fire Codex. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. I think this is the next to the last slide, so thank you for hanging in there. When you're working with this updated Fire Codex frequency, these are some of the things you notice here on the left. It'll be much more clear, much more stable. The urgency decreases, right? If you think about coherence, stability, and you think about things in your life, the chaos of the world around us, right? If you're thinking about the 3D matrix that's falling away, or maybe you can think of chaotic situations or people who are incoherent or unstable. There's always like an emergency. There's always something going on, right? There's always something to pull you off of your path, to pull you out of your alignment. There's like a spike in emotions, a spike in frequency. It needs to be done yesterday. I need this, and here's the reason why. And all of the reasons sound like they're all plausible. That's the thing, right? It's sneaky. It's sneaky because the way physical reality works is like the things that are manifesting is our vibration, which is based off of our frequency, right? And once you get clear, stable, and coherent, and you're working with this updated Fire Codex frequency, it's a warm steadiness. It's clarity. There is no like emergency or urgency. There is inherent power as well too to that. When my field or when your field is stable and coherent, when you're working with this new updated frequency, that old paradigm of dominance, of bullying, of authority, it doesn't stick anymore, right? We aren't playing that game anymore, right? You can move through these different activations and these initiations without getting burnt out, without getting destabilized, without getting pulled from your heart center. We talked about the heart center. And you can move through these different timelines. It says grid shifts. You can move through the grids, you can move through these timelines almost seamlessly. It doesn't cost you a whole lot energetically, right? In some ways, you may even get powered up. The frequency of fire working with the dragons or the dragon light body, like you get that inner flame, stoking your inner flame gives you this inner energetic center to work from, right? And just consider if you are feeling drained, or you're feeling unmotivated, or you're not, you're feeling unsure, could potentially be that you're working with the older template itself. I won't read through this on the left. You'll have the slides. I'll put them on the replay and I'll drop them into the Telegram for everybody. This is just basically like a mantra, a prayer, an invocation, or an incantation that you can recite. Part or all or none of it. It's just something that I came up with that kind of basically takes all those 10 slides and it just turns it into a saying, something that you can recite, a mantra. One of my buddies that I work with, he turns everything into basically like word phrases. JJ calls them key codes. So key codes, word phrases, and that's how he kind of activates these things. So you don't have to memorize the last 11 slides or whatever it was, 10 slides. You can literally turn them into key codes or phrases and then set your intention and repeat those phrases and just call the updated Fire Codex frequency in and anchor that architecture, not only for yourself, but for the collective. Tomorrow is the solar eclipse. That's a picture on the right-hand side of what it may look like if you were in the southern hemisphere. Don't worry, there is another solar eclipse this year, so if you're in the west, you may have another shot at seeing it. And yeah, I think that's what I got for right now. There is kind of an exercise that I can walk us through as well to kind of bring this home about timelines. It was up here about, I'm calling it a timeline exercise. But yeah, curious to hear any thoughts. I'll stop the sharing now.
I really resonate with your updated version of the Fire Codex. So everything is come within your, it's all inside of you. You don't need to force it to happen. And also about the karma is, so you put it exactly as it is. The karma is a construct, and we don't call it karma anymore. We call it repeating pattern. So now we are just releasing the repeating pattern. So I resonate with everything you said in the PDF.
Yeah, thank you, Aurora. I'm glad that you like that. And again, what I want to share with you is that this is channeled, right? So I channeled this. So take what resonates and leave the rest, or forget the rest, or release the rest. I just wanted to kind of point that out, that the Fire Codex itself, the most resonant frequency is what you perceive, what resonates with you, what stokes your inner flame, your inner fire, however you work with the Fire Codex. And I like that Vincent has his background really hits today for me, because it reminds me of the different color like flames, and some people work with the different like, particularly like I work with the violet flame, right? And I'm not saying so I like that his background is the different color flames. And in Fire Codex Part 1, I linked a document for you about all the different color flames that are available and out there to work with. So yeah, even though it is an updated Fire Codex, I want you to use your discernment, find what feels most resonant for you to work with, and it's just a tool, you know, and not all tools fit every single situation. You know what I mean? There are times, particularly if you have fire in your chart, your top 3, or maybe even just within your immediate chart, there are times when that fire gets activated. There are times when you need to bring forward the flame, you know, and that's just the way it is sometimes, you know, and I want to make that abundantly clear that this is a tool. The Fire Codex Part 2 is essentially just a codex. It's a code exchange. It's something that is available to you, and to me it feels much more resonant, much more coherent, much more stable. When you are in, I've had extended initiations this last year in particular. Many of us have moved through, it seems like it just never stops, the initiations. And then with the initiations comes those integrations, right? And, you know, some of those integrations are painful and extended as well too. And I think that this updated frequency of the Fire Codex itself could be helpful. So you guys, you know, I'm curious to hear, like, you know, how things settle for you, and how you use this, and how you share it with others, and how you teach others to work with this as well too. So thank you. Does anybody here like have fire in their like immediate chart, or are they a fire sign? I feel like most of us are water.
I have fire for water in my chart. So
Is fire like your top 3, or?
So I have 5 planets, including Sun and the Moon. They are in Sagittarius and in the 12th house.
Nice. Christina put fire emoji, so I'm assuming fire emoji means that you are fire, or you have fire in your chart. Christina says Sag, Sun, Cancer, Moon. Okay. So the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So you have a fire sun and a water moon. Yeah. Aurora has 4 planets in water. Okay. What's your Christina? What's your do you know what your rising is? So you have a fire sun, a water moon, Taurus. Okay, so Taurus is, I'm assuming, Earth. Yeah, so you're pretty balanced. Wow, it's interesting. I have a Cancer moon as well too. So we're Cancer moon, twinsies. Yeah, Cancer moon is the sad boys, the sad masculine and feminine. That's like all the feels. I have a friend of mine. She's a Cancer sun, so it's interesting too. I'm a double water, so I'm a Pisces. I'm a water sun and a water moon as well too. Your husband is in water. Okay, yeah. I mean, you got a good balance. You have a water moon and an earth rising. Oh, see that? Wow. This is like all on one side of the chart. 8th to 12th house. Okay. A lot of 11th and 12th house for you, Aurora, too. If you were interested too, we can do that little visualization exercise. You guys let me know. You don't have to, but I had kind of like a little drop in for the timeline exercise, basically, for applying like the new Fire Codex. Holding 2 perceived timelines in your awareness, and instead of burning one away, let the warmth kind of coalesce or move between them. Okay. All right, perfect. Well, let's move into that. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to make yourself comfy, and we'll just drop in. This will be, I don't know, 15, not even. The field is already open. If you want to drop in, and if you don't feel aligned, stick around, that's okay too. Feel free to click off on the replay at this point. It's been great having you. We'll just drop in real quick, and we're going to work our way through a little bit of a visualization, guided meditation to kind of bring home this updated Fire Codex, specifically with like timelines. I wanted to kind of focus on, the star seed frequency, the timeline frequency. But yeah, just settling in, dropping yourself in. Hopefully you guys can hear the music still. I think it's still going. Yeah, looks like it is. If it isn't going, feel free to turn your own music and drop yourself in with that. Closing your eyes, lowering your gaze. Welcoming in your guides, soul, higher self, oversoul collective, highest pure essence. Oh, I got different music for this. I forgot about that. This is the different music. Haha. You guys are in for a treat. Ooh, actually I'm going to share this. Share. Just so that those watching will have something to visualize. Great. You guys hear me okay? There we go. Put it on full screen. All right. Hopefully this is one of those royalty-free ones, but okay. Dropping yourself in here. Welcoming your guides. Higher self, highest purest essence, council, inner child, galactic children, any other children frequencies you're working with as well too. Getting some movement in if you need to get some movement in. As you're wiggling or moving, I want you to start calling forward your intention for this 15-minute session today. Bringing forward your intention or intentions if you're working with several of them. Calling it forward with your breath. Activating it, turning it into a thread or frequency of light, and breathing that intention in. If you need to do any tapping, feel free to tap as well too at this point. Activating your intention, breathing in that light, exhaling out through your intention, letting something go. Side buzzer hum. Oh. Yeah, it's a little dramatic. It's okay. No big deal. Take a deep breath in. 3, 2, 1. Hold. Squeeze. Focusing on your third eye, side buzzer hum. Oh. Last breath here. 3, 2, 1. Deepest breath yet. Sip. Hold. Squeeze. Side buzzer hum. Giving yourself permission to release, to receive, to allow, to open. If you need to grab a crystal, feel free to do that. Our space is open. Our intentions are set. Setting the collective intention that anything that comes through is for our highest and greatest good, free of distortion or illusion. Weaving with our intentions and weaving with the golden, crystalline, and above templates, timelines. Bringing your awareness within, dropping down in and out of the mind into the heart. You can place your hands on your heart or tap. Bringing your awareness into heart center, following your breath, releasing your day, releasing any stress, misalignments, misunderstandings, releasing your attachment to the stories. Allowing your awareness to move from your body, where you're seated or lying down, and move your awareness up and out into the room around you. You can take a moment to orient yourself into the room, getting curious about the edges of the space. is a swirling expanse of colors, stardust. And you can step through that swirling expanse or that portal of stardust or colors. I want you to step into and step forward into, could be either a forest or a jungle scene. If you need a visualization, you can use the one on the screen, or just listen. Allowing yourself to move and shift through that swirling expanse or that portal and step out on the other side. Your guides have come with you. Your inner child has come with you. We have arrived together. And whether you're in the jungle or maybe you're in a forest, if that feels much more aligned, I want you to make your way towards and forward around the fire or fire pits. Maybe it's nighttime there, or maybe it's just like dusk. The sun is starting to set. You are perfectly safe. You are held by Mother Nature, by Mama Gaia. Just get comfy. Maybe you got a log, or maybe you got a nice comfy chair that you brought along. Pull it out, sit around the fire. Prop your feet up. We've all come together. Our guides have come with us. The inner children can play or move with us as well too. And just settle into the fire. Allow your consciousness to expand, to explore. Let your feet feel the ground. Maybe there's sand. Maybe you don't feel like sitting and you just want to walk around. I highly encourage you to get up and walk around. Allow the music to come through if there's music for you. And I want you to take a moment here after you've settled in. I want you to sense your brothers and sisters that are around you. Allowing your awareness to expand, to connect into this grid that we have built together, connecting into the elements, the fire, earth, the air swirling, the water nearby. If you feel the need to move, get up and move intuitively. Maybe you want to play an instrument, grab an instrument, a drum, didgeridoo, a flute. Or you just want to sit at the fire and relax, because it's just that time of day. That's what we do. Do whatever feels most aligned to you. Maybe you brought a loved one with you, a partner, a friend. Welcome them into our space as well too. Have them come sit near you by the fire, or dance with you by the fire, or move intuitively around the space by the fire. Maybe your inner child wants to like roast some marshmallows or make some s'mores, or put like a hot dog onto the little stick. That's okay too. That's pretty cool. I'm a marshmallow type of gal, so I'm going to work with the marshmallows. Feeling into this sacred circle that we have built, this grid, this frequency of fire, looking around, noticing who is here with you, your guides, your friends, one another as brothers and sisters, the spirit, connecting and just feeling into the vibe, feeling into that love, that stable, warm coherence, listening to the fire. Maybe there's some music or sounds. Maybe there's kids laughing, people talking quietly around the fire. Putting your hands on your heart and connecting into the body, into your heart coherence. Not just in words, but in the frequency of that embodiment. And we'll do a little just fun game here. By the fireside, maybe even, I guess, a little mini activation, or just something to bring home this frequency of the updated Fire Codex together. Activating your heart coherence, finding your breath. You can do palms down to ground if you need to ground, palms up to soften or receive. If you need to energetically turn that dial down, you can do that. Or turn it up if you want to feel a little bit more. Giving yourself permission, really allowing yourself to feel. And as you are connected in community here, held by our community, by our friends, by our guides and our councils around this Fire Codex, this flame, this sacred fire here in the forest or in the jungle, you can visualize a timeline. We can do 2 timelines. I'll have you start with the current timeline that we are in. Whatever comes through initially, if it is a collective frequency, that's okay. Just whatever comes through, don't overthink it. Release the perfectionism. But just what's happening in the current timeline. It could be collectively, or it could just be you in your life. And then now that you have that, I'm going to have you visualize a second timeline. This second timeline is your highest golden timeline. A timeline that we are or that you were calling in. Maybe it's a timeline of your highest manifestation. It could be a place, a space, it could be travel, it could be a divine union partner, sacred union. Your highest timeline, or highest timeline for the collective, golden timeline and above. And we have these two timelines, our current timeline and the timeline that we are manifesting, the timeline that we are calling in, that we are in now, because there is no separation from the now moment in this highest golden timeline. And sitting in that coherence, sitting in your breath, sitting in your divine remembrance, I want you to feel, and you can use the flame as a word picture if that's helpful, or if not, I just want you to feel the resonance in between those two timelines. Feel the coherence, feel the stability. You can use that inner fire within you. It comes from the heart. Maybe it's from the solar plexus or the sacral. If you need to weave and move your hands, do that as well too. You can even feel into it by connecting those common threads or filaments of color. So we're activating the updated frequency of the Fire Codex in resonance. If there are any misalignments, any self-doubt, any dissonance, allow that to converge naturally. Almost like a folding within. A natural convergence, warm, steady, resonant. Allowing those two timelines to overlap, to become resonant. But no longer is aligned, naturally it just falls away. Moves away, makes way, makes room, drops off. And what is in alignment for your highest golden timeline comes closer, weaves and grids, allows. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere for you to be. Just here. Around this sacred fire, with your brothers and sisters, with your friends, your soul family, your soul friends who have joined you. If there are any soul aspects ask them to step forward consciously as well too, who will be assisting us in this golden resonant timeline. Hands on your heart and with your breath, magnetizing and calling in aligned soul friends, remembering our soul family, and asking them to step forward consciously and into the field to weave with us, to grid with us, to love with us, in full coherence, full resonance. Maybe you can feel their presence. And if not, that's okay. I definitely feel that some of them joined us here in this space, within our grid, within our group coherence. We remember, we let them know that we love them. We can't wait to meet them. That we're going to be seeing them very, very soon. Yeah. It doesn't need to be serious. Nothing about this needs to be serious. This is just really playful, really abundant, really, it's like celebratory is what's coming through for me. Whew, man. Wow. Beautiful. Taking a look around. Listening, feeling, remembering. Allowing. Ashoku. Yeah, taking some more moments here, bringing yourself back slightly. If you want to do any dancing or howling or playing of instruments, drumming, singing, toning, hugging, touching, like holding hands, hugging one another. Yeah, powerful. Breathing into that, continuing to breathe. And if you want here, just find yourself somewhere comfy to sit or lie down. Get back into your comfy spot, settle in. letting your friends know that you are here, you remember, you haven't forgotten. And we're going to see them real soon. I want you just to drop yourself into your breath, meditate, breath work. Whatever it is that you normally do, just close your eyes and shift your awareness up and out and back through the night sky, through the stars, making your way back towards your physical body. Going up and out, down and around, finding your way back to wherever it is that you are. Taking some time here. Wiggle your fingers and toes and get some movement in. Thank you for your time, energy, attention. Thank you for playing. Meditating, loving, aligning, gritting, weaving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cool. Appreciate you guys. That was a little bit longer than 15 minutes, huh? Yeah, if you had any shares, I'd love to hear any shares. Anything that came through for you. Yeah, I can't wait to, I'm gonna clip that part out and I'll just post that portion of it because I want to hop back into that myself. Something about it, it's just very, very resonant.
Yeah, I think that meditation is really good. So you mentioned that lots of people worry that their loved one won't like go through, come to the golden timeline with ease and grace. You can just doing that meditation to help your loved one to jump timeline to the golden timeline.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Yeah, some of that was like, it's just, some of it was like channel what came through in the moment. I mean, some of it is something I've done before, but also like each time is very unique. The field and the grid that we build out together, the vibe, and something about it just hits in a way that, I don't know, it's really nice, really activating. All right, Christina, yeah. All right, have a great night. Love you. we'll see you guys later. It's about that time anyways. So we'll catch up tomorrow for Stream of Consciousness. Always interested to see what comes through. You guys have a great night. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Vincent, Aurora, Christina, and everybody else who watched and participated. Have an amazing night.
Thank you so much, everyone.